Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
As you were, Marine. Thanks for coming. I didn't think everybody was going to make it with the weather. Those of you who know me, this is what they do.
Okay,
So-
that's why I'm here.
So, I just want to share with you, last night was a very difficult decision for me. I turned down the NCAA so I could stay. Come to find out, they found another able-bodied Massachusetts guy to take the organization over.
Right? Oh, so tall.
Yeah, well, it's funny, when you get a picture of Timmy, the governor, and myself together, the problem is we got to find somebody to bring the ball up. None of us guys. Oh, there's Steve. Sorry. So, we've got a brief program this afternoon for you. Just kind of acknowledge some folks, share the story of how this came to be. But first and foremost, let us all take a moment and do what we all are proud to do, I hope, and offer the Pledge of Allegiance.
Absolutely. Face the flag, hand over your heart. Veterans may salute. Let's do it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Perfect. It's my privilege to introduce our board president, Mike Dunford, who's going to do some welcoming remarks.
Hey, folks, thanks for having me. This is such an incredible opportunity for us. What I would term as one of the more significant events that this organization's gone through. What I wanted to start with was to recognize the CVOC team. So if the folks, you see them wearing the red, but if you guys could put your hands up, let's hear it for this group that put this place together. We're going to be standing here today. We took possession of this place about 3 months ago, had to renovate it, had to order the equipment, and under the leadership of Jim Seymour and the team that just raised their hand, they got it done. And we're under operation, and we're feeding veterans on the Cape. So it's a pretty impressive task that they've accomplished. I also want to recognize the board, the CVOC board, the folks that are here. Put your hands up. So we got a board. I'm very lucky that we have this board. One of the things that we're charged with is setting the strategic plan for the organization. And I've been on the board about 6 years now, and there's a group of us, and we're adding to it every year, that makes us better and stronger in helping this organization to deliver for veterans. We identified 4 areas a few years ago that we're going to really get good at. One is housing, the other is food insecurity, the third is case management and counseling, and the fourth is programs and outreach. And this is an example of us getting really good at addressing food insecurity. So I'm particularly proud that we said it a few years ago, and we're standing here today, and we're delivering on it. So to the board and to the team, can't thank you enough. And all of the folks in here who have supported us. We could not have done this without our partners at DVS, who's hiding back there, and Cheryl, who's secretary, is here. Claire's over there. These folks have been partners and joined at the hip with us. We could not have done it without them. Yep. Then there's folks like the Shields Foundation that's here, the Orleans Elks are here, the VFW from Hyannis, and the list goes on. I think we've counted close to 500 people who directly supported where we're standing today. And that's so impressive. So give yourselves a round of applause.
That's awesome.
We've been doing this food pantry thing for 30 years. The Non-Vets Association opened a food pantry on Main Street back in 1993. And we've just gotten better and better at it, and this is a great culmination of what we've been able to really leverage from the start they gave us. So we owe a credit to them as well. I'd love to not be standing in a food distribution center. I'd love that problem to not be a problem, but it's not going away anytime soon. And so our ability to add a capability that can bring food out to folks across this region is so critically important to the work we do. So we're going to keep doing it. This is the start of getting this place into the ecosystem. You saw we got a 14-foot refrigeration truck, thanks to the state and DVS. That's going to allow us to pick up pallets of food and bring it here so that we get more food onto the Cape that we can then distribute it with the refrigeration van that we have. So we're building an ecosystem here to really meet the needs of veterans. Thanks again for coming. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Just to kind of set the stage for you a little bit, we invited some folks that have been very interested in the work that we're doing from the federal level, the state level, and the local level. And we invited them today to show them what we can do when we try to set a plan together, when we do our delegation conversations at certain times during the year. And this is evidence of what this team has the ability to do. And it's, as Mike said, I wish we were out of business. I'm trying to do a job so well that I'm no longer needed. Unrealistic probably for the immediate future. But the story of this had its nexus well over a couple years ago. I used to be on the board, and this was, as Mike said, this was part of our strategic plan. And when we moved from one food pantry a week here in Hyannis, we moved into Eastham, Falmouth, Martha's Vineyard, and we're doing home delivery for homebound veterans. And that's a growing book of business. I came to the board and I said, we have a supply issue. We can't get enough product in here, and we need to look at this. And that's how it started. And my board is very appropriate and said, okay, how are we gonna pay for it? We have to do all the we're running this like a for-profit business, and that's the only way you're gonna stick around long enough, correct? So I said, let me figure that out. And then shortly thereafter, we were named a recipient of the Seaside Le Mans from the Davenport Company. That started, in my mind, the confidence to go to the board and say, I think we can do this. And then our partners grew, the Shields Foundation, and the state, and you'll hear from them in a minute. But the reality of it is, this is, I think, public and private partnership at its best. Veterans are a very honorable group. They don't want necessarily to see themselves as needy or requiring assistance. So the majority of my team are veterans, past service, Air Force, Army, Navy, Marines, and myself, in the Navy. Somebody's got to be in charge, right?
You give us rides.
I give you rides. 2 Marines here, right? Okay. I'll talk a little slower for them, all right?
If I could, food pantry, where are the crayons?
We got some right over here.
We do. So now, as we go forward, we now have 4 locations, and we're seeking the right appropriate launch for probably two additional locations in the beginning of 2023. So that will increase our reach, our program. Just to give you an example, where we were a year ago, we did 45 families, we served them full Thanksgiving meals. This year we did 152. So that's almost a 4-fold book of business. We're doing pet food. We partnered with a local charity. We're doing pet food. We're doing toiletries. The biggest thing going out the door right now is toilet paper and paper towels. It's just amazing. I'm going to stop there for a minute because I want to introduce some folks that have joined us today to bring us greetings from the Senate, Congress, and local state areas. I'd like to invite Innocent. He is the Veterans Liaison for Senator Markey. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Jim. Hi, everyone. My name is Innocent Muzufia. I work for Senator Markey. The senator couldn't make it today, but really, just wanted me to be here on his behalf. And I have a really brief statement I would like to read on behalf of the senator. Good afternoon. I would like to first thank the veterans in attendance today for your service to our country. I also like to thank the Cape and Island Outreach Center for your tireless work on behalf of our veterans. Today, ribbon cutting is a testament truly to your great work. Veterans put their lives on the line so that we can exercise our rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And they deserve the same guarantee following their service. Unfortunately, many veterans, including veterans living here on the Cape, face challenges getting the food they need. Nearly 1.5 million veterans are living in poverty, and that number is unfortunately on the rise. The COVID-19 pandemic struck veterans communities hard and contributed to a higher number of veterans struggling to keep a roof over their head or food on their table. Fortunately, the Cape and Island Veteran Urgent Center jumped into action to fill this void. In 2021 alone, the CVOC food pantries served over 1,700 veterans and their families. CVOC workers and volunteers helped pass out food to veterans in the rain, snow, or shine. It was a testament to how people in the Commonwealth support one another. Senator Markey was proud to support this work and broader support for the health, safety, and financial security of the Commonwealth through a $113 billion in aid to Massachusetts through federal COVID relief fund. The new distribution center represents what's next for ensuring no veteran or their family needs to wonder where their next meal will come from. CVOC Distribution Center will expand the reach of food distribution and better prepare us for moments where veterans and their families need a little extra support. But the work shouldn't stop here. The heroes who deliver on our battlefields are relying on us to deliver for them at home. This is why I was proud to vote for the PACT Act, the biggest expansion of veterans' health care and benefits in decades. It expands eligibility for VA health care and benefits for veterans with dust exposure by adding more than 20 presumptive conditions for burn pits, Agent Orange, and other dust exposure. By expanding healthcare benefits, we make sure that veterans are healthier and can afford basic necessities like food and shelter. While we celebrate today, we must continue to work to ensure that we not only address food insecurity among veterans, but also to find long-term solutions to the root causes. We must work to expand available resources for veterans after their military service, opportunities for high-paying jobs, mental health services, and affordable housing. Senator Markey remains committed to working to make sure our veterans are equipped with the resources, support, and protections they have earned. Congratulations on opening the first ever veteran dedicated food distribution center on Cape Cod. Thank you all so much. Because this is a big deal, the first veteran food distribution on Cape Cod, the senator wanted me to present you with this congressional recognition. I can read it for you. The Cape Certificate of Special Congressional Recognition presented to the Cape and Island Veterans Outreach Center in honor of the opening of the first veteran dedicated food pantry on Cape Cod. Recognition of outstanding and valuable service to the community. Congratulations. Thank you.
That's a big deal.
Yeah.
Great, thank you. Thank you very, very much. Our next partner and good friend and neighbor, Cameron Bauer, who is from Congressman Keating's office. I know Bill wanted to be here, and they're doing some stuff in DC, so he sent Cameron.
At the 18th.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So unfortunately the congressman couldn't be here, but I was with him Monday, and we were talking about the district as a whole, especially as it means to veterans. And we actually have, the 9th district has the most veterans in Massachusetts, and we even believe New England, because we haven't seen those numbers yet. And it's also the oldest population of veterans, which has made it a huge challenge. And Innocent mentioned the PACT Act. Congressman Keating was a huge supporter and co-sponsor of that bill, and it's been, we are so lucky to have people like Jim and Greg here that really anchored the veterans community here. And the congressman just wanted me to forward that to you guys. And I also work on veterans issues right next door, so if you need anything from me, come right up to me. I'll give you a card and help you out any way I can. So, Jim, thank you so much.
The next man I wanted to introduce is a very close friend, and he has supported me personally as I began this journey. And his counsel has been awesome. His willingness to pick up the phone on a regular basis and just kind of work through things. And he also authored an amendment that was attached to this year's state budget for an additional amount of funding in the amount of $50,000 for the work that we do. My friend Tim Wheeler.
Ladies and gentlemen, I really, really appreciate each and every one of you taking time out of your day to be here to join us on what is really a great celebratory day. The great work that's going to happen in this space going forward to look after our God bless our veterans, our heroes who've worn the uniform to defend our nation. The great work that we're going to be doing here is part of our eternal debt for their brave service. It's going to happen right here. And I got to tell you, so about 1 million years ago, back in the days of wooden ships and iron men, I was blessed to serve in the United States Marine Corps. And I came back, I entered service with the Massachusetts State Police, and maybe I wasn't paying attention enough, but the one thing that I remember was one day I was working at the South Yarmouth Barracks, I'm on the desk, and I had a young man come in with his wife and their 3 young children, walks into the front lobby, day shift, I'm all alone in the barracks, and he says, I need help. Sure, what's going on? He says, I'm a veteran, I just lost my housing, my wife, my children, and I, we don't have housing. We don't have anything, we have nowhere to turn. We're going to talk about something that opens your eyes up really fast? That's it. When that happened, my first phone call I made was to Stephen George Exaros, right back there, who was Deputy Chief in Yarmouth Police. We can give him a round of applause for the work that he and charity have done. We sent that veteran in his direction, and he was able to connect them with services, including here in the Cape and Islands Veterans Outreach Center. Shortly after I got into office in 2015, one of the immediate phone calls I got was from my good friend Greg Quilty, back there, who was the executive director of CVOC at the time. And Greg, typical to him, Gina, Jim, they grab a hold of you and they don't let go. And they stay on top of everything and they keep advocating and they won't stop until they know that the needs of the veterans here on the Cape are being met. So there are so many people here that deserve to be thanked. I want to thank each and every one of you for your participation, your support. Let's make this a celebration not only of the great work that's being recognized today, but 365 days a year. One of the things that many of us veterans know is that sometimes we feel that the only time that we're truly recognized or appreciated is Memorial Day and Veterans Day, right? And we've all been there. I've been discriminated against by being a veteran. I've had people come up and say to me, I don't want you anywhere near me because you've got PTSD. Right? Automatic blanket smear on everybody who's ever served. As a police officer, my PTSD comes from being a state trooper, okay? But organizations like this, days like this, the services that are being offered year-round remind our veteran community that we care and we're not going to let them fall on their face without getting a hand to help them get back up. We're going to be here to support them, particularly in a period of time when the consumer price index continues to go through the roof. The price of gas goes through the roof. If you have to fill your tank right now, a 275-gallon oil tank, it's going to cost you around $1,500. Where is that money going to come from? It's going to come from other areas, including your food budget. Our veterans are backed up by Cape and Islands Veterans Outreach Center, all the organizations that support them, and the work they do right here. And we remain very, very grateful, Jim, for everything. Thank you.
Amen.
I'm going to put him on the spot, but he's usually pretty good at this. I'd like to invite Stephen Zaros to come forward.
Thank you, Matt. Everybody, show me. If you're a veteran, raise your hand. All right? Look around. These are the people that we need to truly, truly thank, not only for their service, for our freedom. So I'm here as a Massachusetts state representative, thanks to all of you that support me in the fighting 5th district. But really, I'm here in some ways as a dad. You know, I'm a Gold Star father. I sent my son to war. I gave him a big hug, and he never came home. And all of you in this room have played a part in that. Richie, my family here. And one thing about you guys, when you say you're gonna do something, you do it. You do it, and it means a lot to families like mine, and like you. You've served our country, you've defended our country, you've sacrificed. And you know, every day for us is Memorial Day. But we don't give up, we don't back down, we keep serving. We have big hearts. And remember this ring, right? 22 veterans a day take their lives by suicide. That's what this means. 22 today. We need to stop that. One way to do it is to show respect, to show love, to recognize your service, and also to feed them healthy meals, right? It's part of well-being. We have Cape Cod Healthcare, one of the greatest hospitals in the world, but they can't do it all. So the food that we eat is important, and to be healthy mentally, physically, emotionally means a lot. So as a state rep, as a Gold Star dad, as a cop that worked with Tim, I'm proud to be here. And I really, truly thank you for taking care of our veterans and their families and Gold Star families like mine. Thank you.
In this role, I get to meet a lot of people. I like to equate it this way. I have two types of people that walk in my office, people that want to help and people that are looking for some sort of assistance. And I kind of try to match those together. And in the course of that first year, I've been very privileged to come to know all of you for one reason or another. And one of the best budding relationships I think that's coming for me personally is the next gentleman I'd like to introduce is Matt Levesque. Matt is the president of the Barnstable Board of Selectmen. And I called him up and said, hey, we're trying to do this, we're trying to do this. His first statement to me is, what do you need? And willing to do almost anything. And we're getting there. We're going to do something here, housing in Barnstable and Hyannis. And Matt is just a great, great, great supporter at the local level. I mean, this is a year of firsts for me. I've never been to a zoning board of appeals meeting before. I went, and guess what? We won. It doesn't happen, but you know, and it's kind of cool. I didn't do it myself. The attorney spoke. They just put me in the chair and said, "Don't say anything. We'll do all the talking." But I'd like to invite Matt up just to give us some greetings from the town of Barnstable.
I just want to say thank you to Jim and Michael and the teams. Really, this is what you've created. And quite honestly, I volunteered with a lot of different, especially during COVID, kind of got my feet out of bed in the morning to help and work with veterans organizations. With my friend Steve Exarlis went to, I don't know, how many communities, you know, dropped off
50
boxes.
communities, 200 times.
Yeah. And that was an amazing experience. And I remember coming to the former location back here and the people looping through and dropping food boxes in people's cars and really becoming familiar. Not only that, it's the conversations that take place on Veterans Day in our Selectmen's conference room. And what I learned there in listening to the veterans speak on Veterans Day about their experiences in war and combat, and how that changed my life, and how they're encouraged to be able to share their conversations. And that's supported by this group. Veterans' homes are supported. Again, the team that you see here, everybody works together. Quite honestly, you don't necessarily see that in every nonprofit organization. Sometimes even with the same, you see a competitiveness. That doesn't occur here. Major Quilty, remember him turning me on to what's happening here. How can I help you? How can I get you in front of the council to be able to testify what the needs are here, how the Veteran Service Office is different here on Cape Cod than anywhere else in the state. We've already saying what Innocent said, the amount of, what the amount of veterans that we have here that need to be served. And here we are, in the ribbon cutting ceremony in this fantastic facility, and I just, again, proud to be, and thank you for keeping me informed, and we look forward to seeing so many other things that you're going to make happen here in the town of Barnstable. Thank you.
Thank you, President.
Earlier this year, I said to Mike and the board, I said, I'd love to have the secretary come visit and show the secretary what we're up to. Because COVID kind of slowed everything down, and thank God you have Claire McCrinicolis on your team, because she is absolutely amazing. As a new executive director, you kind of wonder, should you call the state and ask questions? Are you inviting trouble? Are you inviting whatever? But Claire has been nothing but supportive and generous of her time, generous of her knowledge and her understanding. And she's really connected to a lot of veterans organizations throughout the state and has that insight and experience and is willing to share it. And fortunately for me, I have the privilege, she's actually had somebody call me this time after a year in the saddle, and I'm going to try to help someone else pay it forward, if you will. But Secretary, thank you so much for coming. And if I can just say one thing, I hope the incoming administration keeps you, because you are such a big person and are doing a good job.
Absolutely. Great.
Madam Secretary.
Representative Saros, our partners in Congress. I just can't thank everyone enough for coming out here today on a not so great day. If it's any comfort, I was in Winchendon this morning, and it was snowing like crazy. So I'd be thankful for the rain, but I'm afraid to say that because I don't want to jinx anybody for anything else here. But what we were doing there was it was Wreaths Across America and placing wreaths on the gravestones of veterans. And as we heard, I still want to call you Chief Exaros, Representative Saros say, this is one of the ways we honor that sacrifice for those who've given the ultimate sacrifice or are given their lives as veterans, is by helping veterans and their families. And this collaboration here, this is what it's all about. 14 years ago when I came to the department, Claire McCrinicolis told me about the importance of community linkages. And this is how we come together, because no one can do it alone. We need our help at the federal, state, local, nonprofit, and private partnerships, because I understand you've had some significant donations of help. And when we talk about food and food security, how vitally that important a link is, as has been mentioned, but that's also the way that we can link people to other resources, right? They come for sustenance, and then we can check out how is your physical health, how's your mental health, how's your transportation, how's your housing. That's the link to all those things here. So when we had the opportunity, we were blessed to be able to do a request for proposal, and we were able to award funding to 10 providers around the Commonwealth, and very pleased that Cape Cod Outreach was one of them. But not only for this, but whenever there's an issue that comes up, of course, I go to Claire. If it's an outreach or housing issue, and she knows exactly who to tap into. And more often than not, it's the Cape Cod Outreach for all the work that you do. That goes beyond just the regular outreach center. And that's a force multiplier for Greg's work, because he's here serving all the veterans in the Commonwealth as part of his municipal responsibility, and this helps increase and foster that. So I just want to thank everyone for being part of this and for everyone coming here today. I think you didn't expect this turnout, but this is just what shows the kind of community we have here on the Cape and Islands. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Secretary. It's a big deal to have the secretary here. I love it. We love you, and we need to keep you.
So it's kind of interesting. as I look around the room, the relationships that have evolved and developed. My friends from BNI, Business Network International, support me every month with a food pantry collection. Many of them gave time, talent, and treasure to build this facility, and they're helping with Pitcher's Way, our next veterans housing program. You know, as I look around, Tomas, he's the general manager of Fairfield Hotel. This is where I put emergency housing. I have a relationship with him. Greg Quilty behind me, him and the team, we meet monthly to talk about cases, to figure out how things work. Jimmy from Mass Hire, you know, it's not just us, you know, and I'm the face of it, or the figurehead, if you will, but if I would say one thing I've done this year, I've hired exceptionally well. I brought on really great talent, great teammates, and I hope we've begun a lot of good, strong relationships. Christine, you guys at Marty's are awesome. They are helping us with our vehicles, and they've adopted us for 2023 as one of their major charities, so that's just huge from us. My friends in Eastham, the Eastham relationship is something amazing. It actually yielded Angela. Where's Angela? Angela's from Eastham. She's joined my team. She's our new Veterans Client Transportation Manager. 90 days ago, I didn't think I needed a client transportation manager. I figured we might give a couple of veterans rides. To date, since the beginning of June, the middle of June, we've given 476 rides to veterans. So we brought Angela on to do that. Last but not least, you know, each of you have made an impact. And the guy to my right is awesome. Not all board presidents are as talented and as selfless as Mike Dunsford. And I can pick up the phone and say, hey, I've got that relationship executive director to president. Do you tell him everything, or do you figure it out and don't sugarcoat it? Mike says, what's going on? And we work through it together. And I hope that year 2 of this is as good as year 1 was for me. And I learned a lot, a few speed bumps here and there, but what the hell, right? But, you know, Mike is just a tremendous, tremendous resource, and he's got a very impressive background. But what he's doing in retirement, all the time he gives to organizations like us, is unbelievable. And, you know, lastly, I'm going to risk it, but I'm going to single him out anyway. Mike Gleason. Mike joined our team as operations manager in August, and he got this across the finish line with help from Danny, Martha, Dan Hoban, and others. He got this thing. He was here at 5:30 this morning making sure it looked pretty. It doesn't usually look this pretty because it's busy. We've moved a lot of, you might say, what the hell are you doing with all that space in the middle? There's usually racks there and processing tables and all that, but we moved it to get it out of the way. Michael, you are the man. Thank you. Lastly, the reason I have this job, many of you know the story, is my wife. I sat at home a little over a year ago with a job description. I was on the board. And she said, I was with my dog Max, and he's kind of giving me some advice. Looking for a cookie, whatever. And my wife says, what are you doing? I said, I'm trying to figure out who I can invite for this particular position. We need a new executive director. She hands it back to me in about 30 seconds. She says, you know you're an idiot. I said, I've heard that before. Usually at 32 Lakefield Road, it's a common occurrence. And she said, you're out of your mind if you don't call Mike and put your hat in the ring. And I did, and here we are. Again, you know, we've got a lot going on, a lot of goals and aspirations, but it's all veteran-centric. You know, Madam Secretary, thank you for trusting us with this. I tell my team, what do I tell my team? What's the 3 words I have?
Trust but verify.
So we hope you've trusted us, and this is hopefully serves as verification that we're going to do what we said we're going to do, and we'll continue to grow it. Let's cut some ribbon. What do you think?
Got a ribbon. Yeah. Here we go.
Okay.
Ready? We ready?
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah!